Hey, it's the middle of the night, and I've been off and on sleeping all night and crying. You know, some of my Republican friends would call me a bleeding heart liberal, and some of my liberal friends would say, "How can you be friends with them?" Especially the Christian Republican ones, because they just have religion, they have no spirituality. And you're all wrong. I'm bipolar, and I have friends from both sides, even though I'm a Christian and they're like from some other spiritual belief. And I'm bipolar, and I have friends that are just rabid Republicans, and some of them very bigoted, and they have loved me. You've heard the story of the Good Samaritan, right? About how they were passed by the priest and the Sadducee and the Pharisee because one couldn't touch anything unclean, and one was, the law, and the other one was the high priest. I mean, it's just, they all had agendas. But the Sadducee, the Samaritan, who at that time was very unclean. They were the wrong kind. They were the untouchables. Nobody went through Samaria. That was the one who stopped and helped. Now, for those who are big Republicans and Christians, that would mean the good alcoholic, the good Mexican, the good one who got out of prison and turned their life around, like the ones who showed me how to get sober. And for those, maybe the Good Samaritan would be all of a sudden something happens and a Republican and a bigot, without thinking, all of a sudden helps. They go against everything they believe and they help. I think that's a good story for all of us. And I love my country. And I hate election years because we all get so ugly, and then afterwards, all of a sudden, we go back to being friends. And we make one person responsible for everything wrong with the country instead of it being all the politicians warring and influence. God, I'd hate to be the president. I couldn't do it, could you? Really? Could you? And we say, if you don't like this country, just leave. Or we'll secede from the country. That's committing suicide. We keep talking about freedom to bear arms. What about freedom of speech? What about freedom of religion? What about all the other things in the Constitution? Both sides want the freedom of speech. Both sides want the freedom of religion. But all of a sudden they're throwing truth bombs and say, but not them. For me, but not for them. Because they're wrong. God, I wish you all could see each other on a one-to-one basis. Person to person. So we can all find out on our sides Which ones are the rotten apples and throw them out? We get rabid like, the ones who are Republicans think they can do no wrong, and the ones who are Democrat think they could do no wrong. It's like a family that's like, nobody else can criticize my family, but when we're in person, we'll say the very same things to them and tell them to get their shit together. Well, let's tell our own sides to get their shit together when they're wrong. To hold to the policies that we think is important to keep this country together. Not to forget, sometimes we're met by the Good Samaritan who helps us. And surprisingly, we're the Good Samaritan without thinking about it to somebody who, if they knew who we were, they would go, oh my God, just let me die. We're idiots. We're idiots. This is my country. It's my country. And so many of you are my friends, and I wouldn't be able to introduce you to each other. For those who don't believe in God or don't like Christians or whatever and think they're all just the same, no, they aren't. No, they aren't. We may feel like we have to get dressed up for church and not admit anything, but when we're in private together, oh my gosh, we work and we pray, and it's like AA without the curse words. And, when Jesus said, if you give a cup of water, or you give clothing or shelter to the poor, you're giving it to me. I've been on both sides of that. I was a children's missionary for 4 years, and I would get so mad because these Christian groups would come in for a couple of days and help and say they'd be back and they felt good about themselves. Felt good that they were around such smelly children. And I loved those kids, and I would just be like, don't look down on them. These are my babies. Do you know how giving they are? They'll find a little bread on the sidewalk. They'll find a piece of candy that they would stick in the pockets of their one pair of jeans that would be hardened by urine and food, and hadn't, because they slept in bed and went to bed in the same clothes they went to school in, and then reach in their pocket and get a piece of dirty half-unwrapped candy, and they'd say, Miss Yavi, look what I got for you. And they loved me with all their heart. And I unwrapped that candy and I ate it. And then I've been very poor, very hungry during my separation, and I lived in the barrio. And they brought me eggs, they brought me tamales, they brought me tortillas, they brought me a white dresser, they'd check up on me. And on the 4th of July, the 4th of July, I sat on my porch watching the fireworks. And I was eating tamales from illegal Mexicans and beans and tomatoes that I got from Republicans who don't like the Mexicans. Watching the fireworks to celebrate our country. It was the most beautiful experience. I've never forgot it. Tamales and black beans and tomatoes and tortillas and chocolate cake. I mean, They came from everybody. The Mexicans across the street would bring me eggs, and I lived off of eggs fried in butter, and I hate eggs, but country eggs are like a whole different thing, fried in butter. And that's all I had for my dog. And my dog got so fat I had to give him a new collar. America's a great country. We don't shoot our presidents when they leave, even though we don't like them and we say we ought to. We're the one country that doesn't form a coup to trade one dictator for another. That's not us. The Pledge of Allegiance says, "To the republic for which we stand." Yet we talk about being a democracy. What are we? The United States. Quit talking about secession. Quit quibbling. I mean, geez, election's going to be over soon. Who are you going to be then? Are you going to go back to being friends? You love me and I'm a mess. Our country is a mess. Do we love our country? Is our country saying, I'm still here. You stay too. You stay too. I'm not leaving, and I'm mad at both sides. I love my country. Democrats love their country, Republicans love their country, and they can't stand each other. Well, tough. That's why we have a balance of power, and everybody gets pissed off because they think theirs is the only one that writes. We can't survive without either side. We just can't, and we are the United States. And damn it, you never know who you're going to be a Samaritan to or who's going to be yours. And they're all right here. We're family. We are. I love you guys.